13.
Mr Chair, I'm going at 1:45 too. I'm going to South Auckland for the Hunua project.
Okay.
He's in a mobile church about to do a blessing.
It went like 3 hours. What are we doing right now? It's a bit rough, really.
We'll be quick on this one, David.
Really?
We could be quick on this one today.
I'm not going to hold my breath today, Mr Chairman.
Welcome.
No.
All right, thank you very much, Chair and Councillors, and we do promise to be quick on this one. You'll be pleased to know that New Core project, which we've undertaken to come back to you regularly on, is proceeding well. And so without further ado, I'll hand over to Paul, who'll take you through the presentation, and if there's any questions, we're happy to take those at the conclusion. Thank you very much.
Through the Chair, thank you, Dean. Is the presentation being handed out? I'll commence talking about the key achievements for Nucor based on the date of the 30th of June when this report was effective from. Some of those key achievements include we have been able to deliver a number of management reports early to help the existing council. These are reports which are due to be delivered in June 16, but benefit was seen working with the business to be able to deliver those early for them, and we had an opportunity to do so, which we have. These reports have helped them in terms of, instead of running reports 7 times for the various legacy councils and manually combining them, they're now able to run those as one combined report, which saves them some considerable time. Also enables them to be able to run the reports more on an as required basis as opposed to on a monthly basis as it is currently. So just on the key achievements. Secondly, we are progressing with our activities and our plans, especially noting there around property and consents, which is one of our key areas, so that is progressing well. That is now for property, the process there, the sprints, which is where we do our design and build, is completed, and consenting is progressing. I'll talk a little bit more about consenting when we discuss some of the key risks and issues that we have. Our system testing, which is what we do prior to going into our end-to-end process testing, has been progressing well. And in many cases, we have now moved out of system testing and into our end-to-end testing for the solution. A data governance forum, which we've talked about at previous meetings, is up and operating well. This is a forum where we can take decisions that are more complex or difficult around data, given that the data that we have is coming from many of the legacy council systems. So we're having to bring the many to one view, and often this data has been interpreted differently in the various legacy systems, from things as simple as date of birth for dogs to also things such as deduplication of customers, where those customers exist across multiple of the legacy council systems. Around our records and document management, this is where all the records and information is held. We have a solution in place for June 16 for this. This is an area which had a bit of complexity for us. We've come forward and worked to a solution. The challenge here was around the ability to be able to search across all the various, again, legacy council records and document management systems to be able to return a result for that. So we have a solution in place for that, which is tracking for June 16 go live. And lastly, around business impacts for the new future state design that we have. So now that we have a future state design from the Nucor solution, we've been working closely with the businesses to work through them what are the impacts in their particular business around that, working with them and helping them to enable them to be able to do the work that they may need to do to resolve those impacts that they have there, which could range from the roles that various staff have to skill sets they need within their team. There may be changes of roles where particular activities or functions are carried out as well. That also leads to us updating our change plan to enable us to focus as we move through towards our go live, especially around making sure our users are ready and prepared for our go live in June 2016. Upcoming milestones, we've got some more management reports that we will be releasing, and we have released some more during July, but also there'll be some more through August and September as well. we have finalised our reset phase outcomes. We have full traceability back from our requirements, back through to our business case, and we're doing some additional work with the transformation team within Auckland Council around benefits, and we will be looking to report back on benefits at a future quarterly meeting with finance and performance. As we mentioned at the last meeting, we did have an exec review, risk review session where we had David Curran who is the Westpac CIO in Australia, but was previously in a role within CBA where they did a similar thing, but on a larger scale with us. That session we had with him was incredibly valuable and useful to us. There are a number of actions that have come out of that which we have either implemented or are in the process of implementing it. A couple of the key things that did come out of that was around looking to see how we approached our testing and how we phased that, and we have made some changes in that. We have changed some of our testing cycles that we have within there. We also have, they also stressed and talked about the importance of looking to get customers involved within the testing process or prior to go live. So we're working through how we can do that, looking to around February, March and April of next year, and what our options are around being able to do that as we move into our user acceptance testing phase of our program. In terms of data migration testing, we now have completed test load 6. We will do all up around 13 to 14 test loads, so through test load 6 the loading of the data is being proven successful to date. There are issues identified which we work through and resolve at that time, so we will continue through that process happening there. System integration testing, which is our end-to-end testing, we had a milestone for that on the 31st of July. We have achieved that milestone. We are now into end-to-end testing for many of our value streams that we are delivering, and that is progressing. Change champions, we've kicked off a Change Champion Roadshow, so this is working with change champions we have identified within the business to help as part of that journey in terms of the transformation that will occur within their business, and to help use them as our champions as we go out and look to deploy the solution next year. We also have completed training material preparation. Now that we have a future state design, we can begin the preparation of the training material, and also coming up is in October we'll commence our 8 cycle testing. Key risks and issues. There's one key change here from our last report, and that is records and document management has been removed from here. We now have a solution for June 16. The key item that I want to mention here is around our consenting sprints. So in the consenting space, doing our design and build, we have had a couple of challenges within that area. That's not unusual in this style of program, and it's something which we have accommodated within our plan, but we have had to go through an escalation process, which again is not unusual. And the issue has been around the timeframes that working with SAP, we've been able to complete some of the design work within that. We've spoken to them about that through that escalation process. We've come up with a new plan with them. They are now tracking to that new plan, and they are now delivering. They have completed the design and build for around 70% to 80% of the activities that are commonly carried out within that consenting space. So there's one of the activities we did was to prioritise, so let's make sure that we focus on those that are the most common, and the remaining 20 or so % are in the process of being delivered, with the next delivery being the 28th of August, and then the final delivery on the 14th of September for that. In terms of progress, so the percentage we have up there, 56% at the end of June compared to 60%, that equates to about 2 weeks of effort. We have pulled that back to, as you see now at the end of July, 61 to 63, so it's about a week of effort. That's not about duration, but it's about effort within there. A lot of this has been driven by the challenges we had within consenting, but again we have managed that, and that is under control, and we are tracking overall to our plan. Our costs are within budget for this year. In terms of program as a whole, we're tracking to be slightly under the 156.9 million that we have in terms of our budget for that. Again, as I mentioned last time, we do a full bottom-up reforecast every quarter, and we completed that again in the month of June. That's a presentation.
All right.
Thank you.
Ian, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Only to really capture, I think, what is in essence been a good report. We're making good progress. I've reiterated in the past that this is a challenging project, but through the leadership of Paul and the team and the contribution of all parties, staff and suppliers, actually we're doing a good job. And I think you should be growing in confidence in that. But we assume at our peril that that will continue to be the case. So we live on that edge. But the guys are doing, the team's doing a good job. But more than happy to take questions because it's important you understand. The only other comment I was going to make, Councillor Clow, was that the next time we bring a report, we would like to bring you some demonstration of the product that's actually being built. So this allows you to take the cerebral concepts and the money that you're spending and start to see what this physically looks like.
That'd be very useful.
Okay, I've moved it and Councillor Penrose has seconded it. We have Councillor Brewer and Councillor Casey with questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think what we're seeing here, after several years, is we in these charts, when you look at page 99, the matrix there of the capex and opex spend in the larger IS capital budget, we are seeing substantial amounts for new core 15-16 and 16-17, but then it dries up completely. So that's really good that with the resetting we are, as we decided in November, that we would front load that work and get it and do it in the foreseeable future in this LTP period. So I suppose my question will be around timing as to delivery, because I note from 17-18 the funding dries up both at CapEx and OpEx. But I do just want, as I tend to do on these ones, Mr. Chairman, is just while we start seeing these great results as far as coming slightly under forecast, under budget, on time and the likes, I think it's also important in these kind of documents, public documents, to also note what we agreed to on the 29th of November 2011, if we want the whole, or 2012, and that was that, quote, from the PowerPoint, the infamous PowerPoint that's publicly available, that the total cost of the new core program will be 71 million, made up of 58 million CapEx and 12.9 million OpEx. Well, that 71 million was spent by about April this year, with a couple of financial years to go. So yes, we can say we're under budget and on time and aren't we doing well, but I think it's important to always note that is according to a reset that was done in November last year, not according to the project as a whole that we as councillors in the old council chamber agreed to as a, quote, $71 million project. Yes, we're coming under budget so far on the 156 million, but we're miles off the initial project, and I know Dean could talk about why and the changes and everything else, but I think just for the sake of kind of institutional knowledge and transparency, that we should always include day zero, which in this case was, took us back to kind of the start of the amalgamated city, and not from day zero being reset day. So
ground zero, I think it is. But anyway, Dean, I did note a question way back there, which was the timing, and that's all you need to answer. Are we on track?
We are on track, and if anything, we're aiming to deliver earlier.
Thank you.
So that, Mr. Chairman, that delivery time is, are we looking at kind of delivery in this LTP period, Dean, so by the end of kind of 17-18?
We'll still deliver within the periods that you've got here, but We had originally planned on one big drop the middle of next year, and the final stage being in the middle of next year within the LTP period. If anything, we're trying to pull that second one forward slightly.
Good, thank you.
Right, well, I was hoping we were going to deal with item 11 before lunch, and that's still my objective. So please, we've got 4 people wanting to ask questions at this stage, and that is fine. But if we just, I just remind people not to ask the same questions they asked 3 months ago, or would be quite good. Councillor